My name is Christina Granados, and I am a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau. I live and serve here in Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, and San Benito County. And my colleague Tori Del Favero and I basically just help to spread awareness about the importance of the coming 2020 census.
So thank you so much, Christina, for joining us here today and for talking about the census, the 2020 census, because I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really know, like I see the census when I look at Pew Research, and I know people are taking the census. I just don't know how they're taking it.
Yeah, and I think that's really true of most people, honestly. Yeah. So I really value and I'm grateful for this opportunity to talk to you and to your readers about the census, because the truth is, unless we hear about it directly from someone or a trusted source, it's really easy for it to kind of go past us and we're not really aware about, why we're doing it or that it even happened.
Yes. So how in 2020 with everyone on their phones using apps and all that stuff with the rise of technology, because the last census was taken in 2010.
Right.
Yes. Every 10 years, I remember. And so how into 2020 is the census going to be taken? Like, how can people participate?
Sure. So it probably helps to give you a little bit of background about the 2020 census, because that kind of helps to understand why we do it the way we do it.
Okay.
So basically, it is constitutionally mandated. So the U.S. Constitution requires that we do a decennial every 10 years census, a count of every single person living in the United States, no matter what your race is, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter your age, your citizenship status, we all count for purposes of the census.
Okay.
And one of the things that really made me smile when I was looking through Epifania, and I saw a little bit about you, and you were talking about how your Epifania was this moment when you realized the okayness of forging your own path.
Yes.
And I thought how perfect that aligns so well with the census message, because honestly, the census is our opportunity to shape our future. Yes. So why it's important is that the Constitution mandates it for apportionment. And what that is, it's how we determine how many seats in the House every state gets.
Oh.
So it actually determines our political future. It's really, it's huge. It's really important.
Yeah.
So right now, California has 53. We want to obviously hold on to those seats. Everyone wants to make sure that we're all fairly represented. So it's really important that we all get counted, because that's all that it's based upon. It's population. Yes. So really, that's the beauty of a census, is we all have a voice. And then it's also really important because it shapes our economic future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the census is how we distribute about $675 billion worth of federal funding. And that's our sort of U.S. Census Bureau conservative estimates. There are independent groups that place it much higher than that. And that funds, it's amazing. Everything from Medicare, health, transportation, funds, grants that help to build our roads, to keep them safe. It impacts education, free and reduced lunch, Title I funding. It's really interesting because we have a district here in Santa Cruz that shared with us that they can't wait for the next census to come out, because they have enough students to qualify for Title I funds, which helps to improve the educational outcomes of disadvantaged students. However, they can't apply for them because they didn't have enough students in 2010 census data. So they're waiting. There's a lot of great data in the Census Bureau, and it's really user-friendly. Yeah. So I encourage everyone who's remotely curious. It's really interesting to see that all this data that we're collecting, it's for all of us to benefit from. So it's important. It's also very safe. So because we're doing it every 10 years, because it's constitutionally mandated, it's very protected by law. So oftentimes you'll hear where the census is confidential, but people don't understand exactly what that means. Yeah. And it's actually a very high standard. So first of all, it's protected under Title 13 of the U.S. Code, which means that every violation of confidentiality, meaning we have to keep your personal information completely secure, is basically punishable by $250,000 fine and or 5 years in prison. So it's a very, per violation, it's a very high standard.
And I know for a lot of people, privacy is like a big, they want to feel safe, right? Because your information is already out there. I always joke that Google knows everything about you. But, it's like you want to make sure like your information, especially your children's information, if you're giving it to the census, is like very secure. Like you don't want people to find it.
It's understandable. And in fact, the U.S. Census information is only used for statistical purposes. We are never sharing your personal information. And in fact, all Census Bureau employees, including myself, even though we're temporary appointments because we're here through the term of the census, we have to take an oath to keep that confidentiality, and we're subject to Title 13, not only for the term of our appointment, but for our entire lives. So it's a very, very serious thing. And all of our data, because this time we'll be able to do it, it's easy, you'll be able to do it online. You can also still do it, via paper if you're like me and prefer to do it that way, or you can call. But it's all encrypted, and we use the highest federal standards to secure that information. In fact, your personal identifiable information is sealed for 72 years until the next census data that's being released, I believe, is from the 1950 census, if I'm doing my math correctly.
Okay.
So folks are excited about that because they can't get at that information because it's sealed, because it's protected under law.
Oh, wow. Okay, for people that are constantly moving, what are the multiple ways that they're gonna be told, basically, that, hey, the census is out, please take it, instead of just because I know for me, if something just gets mailed to me, I'm I probably won't see it for a month,
Well, that's why this conversation is so important and why we really value these opportunities to talk to the community, because at the end of the day, it's really the trusted voices like yourself that in your family, with your readership, with your friends, we all have influence over our own sort of sphere. And we really depend on you to be our partners and to help us spread the word. And just to remind people, the census is important, it's safe, it's easy, it's coming. Yes. April 1st, 2020 is Census Day. So that's the reference point. You'll actually receive a mailer about March 12th to March 20th, around that time frame, so you'll know to look out for it, inviting you to fill out the census.
Yes.
And then, but you'll do it in reference to April 1st. So what you'll think about is, where do I live and sleep most of the time as of April 1st, 2020, April 1st, 2020. So for example, if you're carrying a baby, and your child's not born when you're filling out the census, but you know that this baby will be here on April 1st, 2020, living the majority of the time with you in your home, you count your baby.
Oh, okay.
You're soon to be your child, because they'll be here April 1st, and everyone counts.
Yes.
So the other thing to remember is that the U.S. Census Bureau will never ask you for your social security number. We will never ask you for your financial information.
Okay.
And we will never ever, because we're completely an apartisan data agency, we're non-political, we will never contact you on behalf of any political party, be it Republican or Democrat. If you receive any paperwork that is coming from any political entity and it claims to be the decennial census, it's not.
Okay.
And because we're not an enforcement agency, that's the other thing. The other reason why your data is safe is because we're not an enforcement agency. We only use your data for statistical purposes, and we can only share it. We can only use it for those purposes. So your data will never be shared with an enforcement agency. It's just completely safe. So if you do suspect fraud, we ask you to contact your local authorities, because we are not an enforcement agency.
Yes. Okay. And you also mentioned something, doesn't matter of your citizenship status. So if you're on a work visa or student visa, you still have to take the U.S. Census.
If you live and sleep on, and you consider yourself living, meaning this is your home, on April 1st, 2020, you fill it out.
Okay.
So if you're on vacation from Spain and you live and sleep in Spain, and you happen to be here on April 1st, 2020, you don't count, because you don't live and sleep here most of the time. It's not your home on April 1st, 2020.
But if you're on year 2 of your year 3 graduate program and you are living here for 3 years, basically, you take it.
Yes.
Okay, there we go, guys. You have to take it, even if you weren't born here, but you're here for a very permanent time.
The Constitution asks us to count every single person living in the United States. And again, that's the beauty of the census. Everyone has an equal voice. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your race. I think sort of what I find so beautiful about this work is that element, is that it really empowers us to take the selfie of the country. And I really hope that one of the ways that folks out there will want to support us is to apply for jobs. We have some great job opportunities.
Yes.
We are actually currently hiring for our local census area offices. We like to call them ACOs because we like the cool acronyms, but they're essentially our local census offices. There's 12 in Northern California, 30 altogether in California, and they'll be opening through the summer. But currently we're hiring for census field managers, and they kind of help us to manage hundreds of employees at each of our local offices. And so if you're interested in that kind of position, I know there's some available right now in San Jose, which is closest to where we're currently at in Santa Cruz County. So please do apply, and you can do so at census.gov/fieldjobs.
Perfect. Again, that link will be right here, guys, and also in the description box below. And you guys can definitely take a look at all the jobs and figure out which one you like the best, and then apply for that one. Yes.
And please spread the word. Those are full-time jobs that are based out of our offices, but we also have some great opportunities that are part-time jobs. So a lot of folks, when they think of the census, they think of enumerators, which are the folks that come out to collect data if you ignore all our invitations, which we won't, because we're all into our civic duty and we understand the importance of
I think
the census.
that's like people's idea of a census worker, because I think you have the idea of like the 1920s or 30s of like literally someone coming around with like a clipboard, you know, like that's like people's idea.
We still do it. We still do it, but we hope not to have to do it. We only have somebody come out if you don't respond, and obviously these are all our tax dollars, so we want to respond if possible so that we're not having to incur the cost of having everybody fill out their census through an enumerator. But nonetheless, we will need folks to help us with the different operations the census does, and ideally folks that will be knocking in your neighborhood will come from your neighborhood. And especially if you're bilingual, for example, whatever language that may be, we really appreciate your application because we want to be able to communicate with everyone in their own language as much as possible. To apply for those jobs, you will go to 2020census.gov/jobs. And right now we're hiring for one of the operations that we're conducting this summer, which is called address canvassing. We do many different operations. Address canvassing is when you take new information, for example, on new construction, and you are verifying that what you see is what matches our information. So if you're interested in doing that work, please apply, and then we're building a pool, so even if this time around you're not able to do it, the next time around an opportunity comes, we will extend the invitation.
And as you guys know the drill, you know this drill. You have to share this video, you have to subscribe to the channel, you have to ring this bell. If you don't do it for any other of my videos, definitely do it for this video. Subscribe to this channel, share this video with everyone in your community, because the U.S. Census is very, very important. And in this day and age where our country is sort of becoming polarized, we're either going way left or way right, we really need to know that we all count and we all need to be counted so we can actually have a clear picture of what the U.S. is.
And Census Day is coming April 1st, 2020. You'll receive your self-response invitation so you can fill it out online, also via questionnaire and via phone. Again, this reference day is April 1st, 2020. You'll receive that invitation around March 12th.
All right, thank you guys so much. See you next week.
Bye.